So we're all set. Thank you so much for turning up. The first point which I want to address is the lack of people in this room is not an index of our popularity. It's because this is a invite-only session, and all of you have been chosen because we thought that you would contribute to the conversation that we are happening. I'm Debdoot from Accion. We have a few colleagues, Anurag. There's also Abhishek from Sahamati. Shalini will be joining soon. There is Shreyasi and Parth as well. There is Shruti from Gates Foundation. Uh, just to set some context, we have been working with the Sahamati Foundation for over a year now, trying to see how account aggregator can be more inclusive. We all know the success story of the growth rate. What we are trying to see, how can it be more useful for inclusion? How can it be more accessible to the people who are financially excluded? One of the topics that we are going to talk about today, and I'm rushing into the topic because we only have 40 minutes and we have a lot to discuss, is essentially the LSP marketplace. In today's world, how account aggregator gets used by LSPs, there is some inefficiency, and we'll talk about this. The idea today is to look at what those inefficiencies are and what could be the possible models to overcome those inefficiencies. Maybe I'll hand it over to Abhishek for a quick.
Yeah, it's just a collaboration or fees, and even we had a presentation on fees that they want some access of the LS because in the current domain, what happens, especially when you need to get financial data from account aggregator, there are multiple consent which a LSP has to take for multiple lender, and for a FIP point of view also, they have to share the same data across different lenders. So it creates a lot of inefficiency. So this thought was we thought that we should gather all the ecosystem stakeholders together so that we can just brainstorm on the probable solutions which we can propose to the regulator and see and take your mind in terms of what are the gray areas or the concerns you see in each of them and what is the most possible best solution which we can propose. You want to talk about this now? Yeah. So I can skip running. So majorly what we are all aware that the same model like I told from a there is a problem of duplication of data. There will load extra load which FIT has to pay because they have to share the same data across lenders. There is a problem of customer privacy as well because the same data reaches to multiple lenders who processes the loan request and shares the offer to the LSPs. But they also have the access to the data. Only one of the lender eventually lands up giving the loan, but customer data resides at different places. It causes operational efficiencies also because for every lead, the lender has to do all the heavy lifting of analyzing, running all the APIs. Hello. Yeah. So for every lead, they have to do invest in lot of scrub APIs, other APIs, which also cause high costs of onboarding a customer for a lender. So these are common issues which we see in the current journeys, and I think now we will be talking about the different solutions, which or hypothetical solutions which can be a possible solution to the which can address these problems. Sacred context. Yeah. Yeah. So because what I see is that LSP cannot share any data with lenders, right? So yes, your example, you are receiving that customer will give a no plus. No, so right now as you rightly said, the problem is uh, the LSP cannot have access to the data because it is not a RE. And account aggregator access is right now in the current construct, the access is limited to the regulated entities. Also partner with other vendors. Yes. In that case, also data cannot be shared. So I think one of the model which we have proposed is something this. So we will be dwelling upon all these models, possible solution, how we can make this whole relationship more efficient. That's true. Yeah. Okay. It cannot be shared. Share. Correct. Non-RE cannot have the access. So these are the two problem statement. Yeah.
Let's look at a.
It's not always that the person becomes a customer of the RE, so the data is out there anyway. So very simply, LSP say partner with five lenders. Okay, right. You give one consent. There's a multi-consent flow already. So give five lenders. Oh, I think yes, there is. So with one consent, you can send five copies of the data to each of the five lenders. I'm not aware of this.
So
This
let's
is
look at
how
the flow today first.
Costs everybody to pull that. Right?
So let's yeah.
If you're the NSP and you're selling one, that's the
Yeah, for everybody's benefit, let us try to understand the current situation first. Yeah, let's start look at the current situation first. So one is you go to an LSP doesn't do anything with the bank statement or account aggregator data. It just appraises you on other parameters and passes it on to the multiple participants in the platform, and then each of the platform pull your bank statement data through account aggregator. That's one model. The second is multiple consent, whereas the LSP on behalf of the different participants actually gets the consent but doesn't pull the data.
just to correct it, it doesn't get it just route to the A, and A takes consent for all the lenders who are participating with that particular LSPs. So it's just the redirection which happens from LSP to A, not that. Hmm.
yes.
हाँ
Yeah.
नहीं OTP तो
One OTP.
हाँ correct. He will be shown all these consent templates. Hmm.
One.
But what can be done is in a single screen, the LSP can, the account aggregator can show 10 lenders who are seeking that consent, and with one tap, those consents can
So I can show you a demo. We have it on us.
But the challenge here is that the lenders, the LSP at that point in time doesn't have access to the bank statement. It doesn't have the bank statement data. So it will have to pass on the lead to the participating lenders without the bank statement data with the consent here.
So I know this has come from LSP. On one side, you're saying we're creating multiple copies of data. Other side, you're saying we'll give an unregulated entity a copy of the data. You think there are not going to be multiple copies?
No, no, that's what we are coming to. That what we are trying to solve is actually trying to answer both the problem statements.
And eventually we have to come out with a solution that how we can ensure a proper guardrails are set.
Confidential to this is what we are discussing
Hmm.
years ago, where the so you the black boxes are now available. I think Google, Amazon, all of them offer them. It's just not well used yet. Where you put the data in the black and then you are planning on it. So anyway, but the model can be put over there and the offer can be put out. And only if the customer selects and becomes a customer, the lender gets the full data. So that way, it's one poll and everything is.
Correct. Yeah,
But then, like say hypothetically, in our case, then ONDC will be the one who has to receive the data. So to speak.
yeah.
But I don't know. Then it doesn't solve your problem of what happens to an LSP and
No, the to be
The problem is we want to solve that efficiency play should come in. One of the company should have access maybe. So one of the solution which we have.
yeah.
yeah.
No, so
Just 1 second. Sorry, please go ahead.
things like we have got already. So in the ONDC construct, also you broadcast the lead to the lenders. Lenders pull a soft pull of the bureau. Each one is pulling same report.
Hmm.
Now it doesn't affect the consumer in any way, but the cost is times 10.
Correct.
Same issue.
Correct.
Plus multiple copies. So eventually you're thinking of you build central infra, I'll pull the report from the bureau, run the rules, give the output when the offer, then the lender can do the one hard pull at the end. I think a similar construct would work for this. The only issue is how do you designate the contours of that central? I'm saying
Right.
it from an ONDC perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But from a market perspective, what is the entity that can offer this service? Is the question.
Okay, just wanted to qualify two things here. We are not trying to solve for the problem of LSP to that point. We are trying to solve for the problem of access. So,
Access to data and sanctity of it.
absolutely, yeah. So the point that you made of a body like ONDC, I'll come to you. Just give me a minute. A body like ONDC doing it works well for us. There are two things that we are trying to solve here. One is efficiency, and the second is having access. So efficiency, for example. So if let's say at the platform level you have understanding of the customer's behavior, you will be able to allocate it to the right lender much earlier, so, leading to lower rejection rate. So these are the problems that we are trying to
Rejection cost.
cost efficiency, all of that. Yeah.
I know that one thing is this, the data of customers and multiplications, right? What if the lenders were at first point of contact were to take anonymized data as per their own whatever they want to create, they just ping it and they get it back. For example, I work on 100 features, for example. I get those back, anonymized, completely anonymized. And then later on, if I approve the customer, then I take do a full the hero. So at least your the data privacy part, that you're not getting the full any PII data. That part gets.
Yeah, then it would need a layer in between which will convert that data to this. So that's one of the solutions. The idea is that we get some insights from you and then work upon one of these models as a pilot in over the next 6, 8 odd months. That's broadly the idea. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please go ahead.
It's that I want only data context why we come. India, my God, in A, we're going to be having one set of very well. Right. So the first problem that you need to solve for somebody like me is which AA do I? Right? So I need a orchestration layer like easy work. You have they have like Jasper. Where that orchestration is saying that where should this go to that I get one layer of it. I will then send it on to whichever vendor I decide want.
Sure. That yeah.
I integrate.
There are two problems that we are talking about here. Which your point is fair, but what we are talking about here is yeah, yeah.
You are talking about Rahul interoperability amongst A's, because right now the coverage of FIPs across A is not there. That is something we have already worked upon, and we have also submitted it to RBI for their go ahead. So once it is done, it becomes interoperable. So coverage across all A's will.
We'll have a follow up discussion on that. What we right, right.
Account पे नहीं है.
Soft pull पे है नहीं, और so that
No, no. So, given 35 minutes remaining, let's focus on the problem in hand. I think you're
One
yeah,
perspective. And I view this
yeah,
more than enough. But
right,
they multiple times in the discussion, they're very clear with their articulation that the lender is responsible for the LSP.
hmm,
The minute you give data to the LSP, the lenders, who's going to be responsible? Which lender will be responsible for the LSP?
right.
And I mean, part of my friends, but that'll create another shit show and nobody will do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be back to the status quo. So the issue is someone regulates the LSP
Right,
so that they become an RE in that sense, and then it's full season.
right.
But now, don't have the uncle give me an LSP. So RBI has basically left it to the lender. That is the challenge. So, like, the issue is creating a designated org that can do this.
I
That is
So,
absolutely.
like we have in insurance, we have insurance brokers. In especially lending side, we don't have any licenses for the
Yes.
marketplace. But maybe entity like Face can create some rules and criteria around how can be the
Yeah.
eligible.
And and they know. And I'm sorry, it's supposed to be an open discussion. It is that I'm not.
Open and closed door both.
Even I tried. And behind closed doors, there's some people who are well with the LI. जैसे हम लिख के देते थे कोई फॉलो नहीं करता.
Right.
Unless you can enforce it in some way. Like how?
No, no, absolutely. So we've just come up with some thoughts, and one of them is precisely what you just explained. So the first one also we've largely discussed, which is having an LSP as a bureau
Eligible
bureau mein there's a category, right?
specified license.
Specified license user sort of a thing. Good.
Not enough is great, but the purest lifestyle we are civil.
Yeah.
Responsible for the that Fed base gives data. To-
Right.
First, it was very tight, then they opened it up, and now this I've given to believe about 6 months ago, the RBI came down very heavily, and they've like sliced off to 70% of their partnerships because they
Correct.
were not pushing because they were just selling data
Yeah.
left, right, and center, right? So at the end of the day, RBI has the view on a specified user. They don't, and they also don't want to regulate.
Yeah.
They want the onus to be on someone else.
Correct,
So the
correct.
challenge is again, I'm sorry, I'm only presenting challenges because like we've tried also different forums. This, but unless you regulate
Right.
or the confidential computing, honestly, is the only solution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, I'm not pointing, but still, I think that all a lot that consent, data not being privy to many people, and the lender.
Because he gets audited tomorrow.
Hmm.
He has to show on what basis he
Yeah,
lands.
agree.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So I think one of the model which we have presented. So our thought was to just give you a sense of one model, understand the challenges, risk you see, and then we move on to the another. But we have covered that same model.
Sorry, you had a
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
So, yes, thinking of how setting the
So
Mind rejection. But maybe not the PI. There is a difference.
Absolutely.
no, that's
So
एक को run through.
yeah. So that's
It's not a 40-minute discussion subject. Huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. So this is the first one. I think we've heard about
Does that we are making some of the LSPs eligible FIU, maybe kind of specified users thing.
this is the model that we are talking that I think you mentioned is basically a neutral trusted entity which is regulated with and that receives the data. What we had suggested is that it provides processed and probably non-identifiable data to the participants in the network. Based on that, certain soft signals, qualification happens, and then the lender can actually go ahead and do further, pull or whatever. So that increases.
yes, you'll enter with more data to process it.
So we don't want to deviate from the RBI direction. Eventually, RBI asking every lender to underwrite every customer. It's just that we are increasing the efficiency by at least giving some sense
So
to
let
the
me
LSP so that the
It's recognized obviously an A as a some sort of data consent managing.
right.
And I'm telling you from a conversation I've had with fintech division. I keep saying that whether now or in 5 years from now, you're going to have to classify a certain class of financial infrastructure.
Right.
What you're going down the path is now defining what the contours of that looks like, and eventually they will also be say, Acha, you have a license and this is what you are allowed to do. Right. So I think this is the direction it is going in, to be honest, but they are not open to this idea right now. I
Mhm,
mean,
mhm.
yeah, of course. And only in our class in market well, save their money.
I think it's like I said, one of the challenges that I felt that what would generally happen is full page hard and
Yeah.
how do you build blood boxes around that so that the model can interact with you? It's going to be the next stage.
No, no, it was. No, you're right. It's just that you have the hardcore the vendor has it there and the something.
Oh, yeah, I'll check on that.
Right.
Something to again talk about first doing this, you run it parallelly. You see how you were doing it in the old process, you see how it's working the old process, they're exactly the same.
Right. Yeah. No, I think very subjective underwriting probably won't work, but rule-based engine, I think,
Yeah.
would definitely work. Yeah. Exactly. So that's uh, the third model that we were talking about is a large co-lender that facilitating that being the regulated entity that has access to any data that the customer has. So that can pull bank account statements, categorize. That lender essentially will house the business rules of the participating co-lenders. And based on that, oh, sorry. नहीं, ये वाला था ना? Oh, sorry. Okay. Anyway, I'll just try and explain it. So the idea is that there is one co-lender who basically represents, who pulls in the data, houses the business rules of all the participating co-lenders there, categorizes customers based on the bank statement data as well as the business rules, and then allocates it to the participating co-lenders in the platform. Which one? Are you being a participant in the lending? So co-lending model essentially. So basically,
Like
uh,
you will make a bank arbiter which NBFC will
so let's say without, I mean, let's say somebody like a no, no, no.
The main polling can decide which lender has to participate. That again deviates from the negotiation.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I'll take you back to the first thing. You want to pay LSPs. Prioritizing that and ether ground. So it goes. We can see that.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. And this problem of allocation can be, as you said, pre-decided, right? Yeah, yeah, right. Sorry. Correct. Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Kind of choice of what path.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Just that there are two aspects, right? One is effectiveness. Second is how easy is it to implement. So building a black box and all of that might be a bigger challenge. But yeah, the idea is to take your feedback and then go back and brainstorm and figure out which is the one we should, or which are the multiple ones we should pursue. Yeah. That can be handled. That can be handled. I think better if it's different. It will be more efficient. Because
My the same. So then, but usually what I'm also, right? Yes. Vendor has his secret sauce. So
जो commonality है उसके basis पे आप filter कर सकते हो a lot of which is causing
common,
repayment data with a cash today.
hmm, yeah.
That's even better.
That's the best way.
Saying that to the black box. Find it. So then there's no issue. It's just that you feed it when the customer selects you.
Yeah.
But I
But
mean,
I know something is already available. Why?
brother, yeah,
Okay. Can we just hear him? Yeah. Please. Can you just hear him out, please? Mm-hmm.
your beam is LSP here.
Mm. Which is this model, right? Yeah.
But UPI linkage is not equal to an AA linkage. Transaction data from UPI, sure. But it's not everything in the bank account.
But the last solution is actually pretty similar. What we are talking about is essentially a
इसमें in this solution what
Because I'm on Google Pay.
I know.
And I transact on Google Pay. Does Google Pay have all my transactions, my bank account?
No, no. So that's why you're saying that
last five transactions are
Of all bank account transactions, the UPI app can pull.
right.
Yeah, nahi hai.
but UPI's purpose is not to take out bank statements. Right? Let's look at this. Yeah, yeah. So let's look at that's why I'm saying that's why we're saying that the data is actually the last model actually addresses that. Suppose nothing like that works, and what we do is we go to an LSP's site. There we have a link to download our statement through the account aggregator. So account aggregator direct B2C customer downloads it in a digitally signed XML format. The LSP allows it to upload it again in a digitally signed format so that the data is not tampered. Like we used to have offline Aadhaar at one point in time.
But the GST had the same thing, download and upload. So
Right.
unless you're desperate for a loan or something, like it's not easy to use.
Mm. Mm.
Well, you can't read it.
But then
Then the issue is same ना Himanshu फिर
then
the issue is that somehow हाँ तो हाँ तो
So here's another question. Another question. What then prevents me from and then scrubbing that information? You're back to the original problem.
the it's
He's saying
custom. आज हाँ.
Under DPD, and that record is also maintained in A. And A became the end-to-end consider and also the LSP.
you don't get me wrong. I'm not like it's all stuff you're trying to do and saying. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's clear the concern.
I am saying it तो आपने जो FIU के साइड डाला है that also on the LSP because the LSP has
Asking for something gone wrong.
ये pipeline should ये pipeline skip that. मतलब इसका ये तो एक बार rather network regulative
Man, I thought about my pay grade.
Regulate you, man.
But so the problem then becomes the issue the data. I mean, not to be the devil's advocate, but it still remains to be seen that when DPDP comes into place, how heavy the fines are and how much compliance is enforced. Right? So, I mean,
What the other thing is,
then you can do this. The rest you can get data and everyone will be happy.
there is some doesn't open.
There's some certification and regulation. Someone has to do that. Who's the? I think it's always going to boil down to that.
We are again out of special type only, no? Okay.
That's
Yep.
what I do.
Ah,
It's like you're
yeah,
creating a kind of organizational contours
correct.
certification process that they don't comply, you can boot them.
Yeah,
That is what it comes down to.
yeah,
And RBI doesn't want to do this, so who's going to do it?
yeah. No, I think obviously the in 40 minutes the idea wasn't to come across a solution. No. Yeah, but we'd love to carry on this conversation. Hear from you.
Yes, sir.
I mean, honestly, this was enough, man. So, but I don't think we were planning to do anything. Yeah. So the thing is, I've been thinking, but I don't know, it's like resisting the idea. It is like create a new sort of entity because now there's all this tech, but we are only led by LSP in their mind. And AI.
Ah, okay.
That's the issue. Maybe we should have a conversation. Nisha market maybe. I'm not responsible. Weaponizing the distribution of data, it will be the issue. This is closed or not recorded maybe. 6 8 months back. There was that civil. They said they RBI came down heavily because they had opened up too far wide. Because RBI only said fintechs को भी दे दो data. सब जगह चला गया. Then they said अभी आप बंद करो party. हाँ, the confidence the company is only way to
First thing which has to be solved. Think and
कुछ है. सब कुछ. Tell me that.
Enemy tech, they have access to your what should be the key? Then we obviously digital.
Oh, yes, consent, recurring consent. You submit that you've given consent, let it get resold into multiple parties.
ये मतलब
The TSP
TS
Yes. So the question is whether it's a private entity, it's a special class.
But these entities are the outsource uh, vendor for a particular lender. They are doing it on behalf of the lender. Right now, the issue is that certain entity has to have like independent relation of because it has to serve multiple lenders and do some analysis on behalf of other lenders. So that is a big problem. Or either entity or some specific like maybe entity like Sidbi, Nawad, I don't know.
Which would have zip it.
I've just been told this is recorded, by the way.
Huh?
No, these are TSPs for us. I think it's your Sahamati, right? No, they were just members, or we have just listed them on our platform for the convenience of the industry. So that because many of the companies were reaching out to us, informal lenders, like who are the vendors who can build FIU models for us. So they generally provide these services, module analytics or UI, but they do not exist as a license separately. Yeah.
See, but didn't the TSP also become an issue? That the TSPs are getting the data before the AO.
But
Before the FI. Huh?
वो तो lender के infra के अंदर है ना.
If they are simple agent, yes.
Hmm.
FP agent of the debt. It's not all of them.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
Absolutely.
You're saying that any entity has access to this data, that should be a neutral entity as much as possible. Any for-profit industry will lead to some level of challenge,
Hmm.
and giving for-profit entity and encrypt the data, the raw data, and anyways, I think today if they can get access summarized variables, which they can filter, I think without a recurring concern. I think that's that's better. I would
Yeah, I think.
What's next on this now?
Yeah, so I think whatever out of this, anything which interests you, for example,
Central confidential computing. Happy to put our
वो इसमें किसी में भी नहीं था, but we can only do it.
we are trying to help build this initiative, connect with you, and just take this forward. I don't know, the person who was talking of co-lending, she's not here anymore. So we'll
nice.
Credit.
Yeah, so the idea is to test some of these as pilots over the next 6-8 odd months.
Even the feedback we've got, that central one is feedback from multiple people.
No, they don't. A lot of lenders are not doing it. But we are using it. Because if we are using it, they want the now offer that is. If you want, we can just special underwrite without the data.
You share the intelligence that is also not.
So when it goes to them, just pull the data or get the right to pull.
All the partnership should happen. Because I am also acting as an LSP. I need to have a framework. Right now, I'm working at the conversation of how we do it. But sometimes I will not share it with myself.
We'll have a conversation with you. So if you could look at derived data and then, very
solved whole in the team and it's not high by single or higher classes. It's what kind of
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think we're on time. But anything that you want to share, we are around and we'll get in touch with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the closing day of day 2 of Global Fintech Fest 2025. Here at this hall, it was incredible, filled with thought-provoking masterclasses, engaging panels, powerful conversations that set the tone for the day. A heartfelt thank you to all our speakers, moderators, partners, and of course, the audience for your energy, curiosity, and participation today. And tomorrow is going to be the day 3 of Global Fintech Fest 2025. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.